This video you're watching now on your screen was recorded by a BBC undercover journalist, obviously with hidden cameras. These cameras were able to capture the inhumane treatment that illegal immigrants and asylum seekers face when they are detained in these detention houses or removal houses before they are finally deported back to their home countries. They face physical abuse, psychological abuse, such inhumane treatment, honestly. And this is the exact environment that Mr. Ibukun Adebowale Adegboyega, a Nigerian national who had the legal permission to stay in the UK but still had to spend 88 days in this hell. As to why it happened, how it happened, and what happened afterwards, you'd have to stay tuned to watch this video. Stop that. So guys, welcome once again to my channel, right? My name is Anel Griselda for those seeing me for the first time. Let me ask this question. Imagine that you're a legal resident, right? You have the legal permission to be in the UK, and let's say you travel outside, you're coming back to the UK, and then you're told that you're not found under the system. It looks like you don't have the legal permission to be here, so you have to be deported, right? And so before they deport, they don't send you on the next flight immediately. Sometimes they take you to a detention center, and there are so many of them near the airport. This particular one concerned with this particular topic is called the Brookhouse Detention Center. Right, you're usually sent to some of these move-out houses or detention centers for a while before you are finally deported, right? And so people who are usually there are asylum seekers, people who have overstayed, and people who do not have the legal permission to reside in the UK and have been caught, right? So these are the kind of people there. And for Mr. Ibukun Adebowale Adegboyega, his situation was quite different. So this is what happened, and I'm going to tell the whole story, right? So this man, like I said, he is from Nigeria. In the year 2013, he was in Cyprus. He was in Cyprus as a student, and he met a beautiful Romanian lady where they got married, like they dated and they got married the following year, right? So they got married in June of 2014. So in May of 2015, he was granted a EEA family permit valid for 6 months, and he entered the UK in June 2015 with his wife, right? So remember, he met the wife in Cyprus. This wife is from Romania, and Romania is part of the European Economic Area, right? So after they got married the following year, he was able to get an EEA family permits valid for 6 months, and then he entered the UK in June with this permit with his wife, right? In August of 2015, Mr. Ibukun applied for an EEA residence card as the spouse of an European national or an European citizen prior to the expiry of his EEA family permit. So listen, when he got the family permit of the EEA, he did not wait for it to expire. Before it expired, remember they gave him 6 months. This man did what he was supposed to do duly, right? He applied for a residence card of the spouse of an European citizen, right? So in September, a short form of certificate of application was issued, right? And in January 2016, so remember this was before Brexit and all these new rules, right? At that time, yes, it was permitted to do all of that. And I think at the moment, the processes have changed. In January 2016, he was refused an EEA residence card on the grounds that Mr. Adegboyega had not supplied any valid ID of his wife. So his application was denied because there was no valid ID for his wife, and I'm sure that was a required document which he failed to submit. The notice failed to inform him of his right of appeal. So usually when you are refused a visa, whatever visa it is, in that refusal letter, you are told of what you can do next. That is your right. You are told that, let's say, you can apply when your circumstances change, or you can submit this and apply, or you can do this, they tell you exactly what to do. For him, he had the right to appeal, but he was not informed in the refusal letter that was sent to him. So he received another letter from the UK Home Office saying that he was liable to removal in February or March of 2016. So on the 31st of August 2016, he was served with notices under Section 10 of the Immigration and Asylum Act of 1999. And this was informing him that he was an overstayer, right? Because at this point, his 6 months of the permit has expired, right? So now they were telling him that he's an overstayer and that he was liable for removal and detention. So on the 2nd of September 2016, he was served with a notification of removal window. By a notification dated on the 5th of September 2016, this man was told that he must report to an immigration official at Luna House in Croydon. This Luna House in Croydon is very popular. I've interviewed this lady who was also an illegal immigrant, and she had to report there. I don't know whether it was every week or it was every month. She had to report there. And as you are going there, you don't know what can happen. Like, you can be sent to a detention or removal house, and or anything at all. You can be deported or whatever. So this man always had to go to Luna House in Croydon. So in the notification that he received on the 5th of September, he was told that he should report to that immigration official at Luna House in Croydon on 30th of September 2016, and thereafter on the last Friday of each month. So he was supposed to go the last Friday of each month between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. He obviously did what most people would do. He involved solicitors to help him with the case, because my wife is an EEA national. I'm the spouse. We are legally married. We are still married. I deserve to stay here in the UK, right? And so he involved solicitors at this point. And these solicitors also were in conversations with the Home Office, and all of that. Although on the 4th of April 2017, a new removal window notification was sent to him. Subsequently, this man was unlawfully detained at Brookhouse Immigration Removal Center. So for those who don't know Immigration Removal Center, like I said earlier, it is a place where they house asylum seekers, overstayers, illegal immigrants. They detain them there for a while until they sort out their case, or until there is flights ready to deport you back to your home country. And there have been so many undercover agents who have been able to capture very ill, inhumane treatment that goes on there. I'll show you some of the footages on the screen. I'll show you clips of people who have been there, and they speak of these. They are racially abused, they are verbally abused, they are physically abused. Like, how? These people have not killed anybody. They are just in your country as overstayers. Some of them are not even guilty. For instance, Mr. Adegboyega, can you imagine? He was not even guilty. He had permission to stay in the UK, right? He was detained at this Brookhouse, right, for 88 days between April and July 2017. That was so unfair. His detention was based on the defendant's erroneous conclusion. So in this case, when we say the defendants, we mean the Home Office. So the Home Office made an error and concluded that he had no right to reside in the UK, despite sufficient evidence of his lawful status under the EEA regulations. Right. During his detention, Mr. Ibukun Adegboyega experienced very harsh and degrading conditions, right, including mistreatment and threats to deportation. So in June 2017, he suffered an incident of trespass to his person, right.
Officers begin to kind of like punch him as much as they can, not only one officer, but so many officers.
And they were punching him physically on his face, on his chest,
yes, on his face, in every part of his body, just for him to be silent and then for them to take him out.
So Mr. Adegboyega, when he was finally released, he appealed and was granted residence card in April of 2019. So people knew that you give him the residency. You knew he was legal. I mean, aside the valid ID card that he was not able to submit, right? He was able to submit all other things. So at least you should have been a bit lenient and then giving him some more time to provide this ID card. I don't know the details as to why that was not given. However, he got his residence card in April of 2019. So in 2022, he was granted interim payments following the conclusion of the Brookhouse inquiry. So like I said, there was an undercover agent who was able to capture very inhumane treatment that goes on in this facility, right? And after that, he was granted interim payment. So he sought damages. I mean, he sought damages for the unlawful detention, for the trespass to person, violation of his rights under Articles 3 and Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, psychiatry injury, and breach of his rights under Directive 2004-36. So the High Court now, after this was a lengthy case in the court. I mean, it was in court for so long, and the judge then concluded that he should be awarded a whopping £203,995.24, less interim payment of £57,500, so resulting in £146,495.24 for the various violations. I mean, you can imagine what this man went through. If not for the undercover documentary that came out, or undercover footage that came out, that people saw how the officers over there were treating these detainees, I mean, nobody would have even believed him if he had come out to say that he was mistreated. Nobody would have believed him. Remember that the entire 88 days is over 3 months, if I should say. Yeah, it's over 3 months. Let's say 30 times 3. So it's almost 3 months thereabouts. It's just about 3 months. So imagine that 3 months of not working. How are you able to take care of your family? That 3 months of not being with your family. That 3 months of brutality, of inhumane treatments. That is awful when he had not committed any sin. In those 88 days, I can only imagine what Mr. Ibukun was going through. Imagine being there for 88 days, the whole 3 months plus. You're not working. How would he even be able to send money to his family? Maybe he was even the breadwinner of his family. Maybe he had to send money back home to Nigeria, take care of his parents and all of that. Imagine imagine the torments that his family are going to go through for that 3 months when he's not sending the money. Anyway, talking about sending of money. If you're in the UK, if you're in the US, if you're in Canada, and you need to send money to friends and family back home, use no other app than Lemfi. So if you're hearing Lemfi for the very first time, Lemfi is an international money sending app which you can use to send money from the UK, Canada, or US to over 10 different African countries at no transfer charge. So you can send money to Ghana, and in Mr. Ibukun's place, he can use it to send money from the UK to Nigeria. You can send money to Benin, Cameroon, Senegal, Rwanda, Tanzania, Kenya, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Cameroon, Tanzania. All these 10 African countries at no transfer charge. In fact, ever since I've known them, they've always had the best rate. Lemfi has the best rate. So imagine they have the best rate, and then they are also not charging you for transfers. And on top of that, the more you send money with Lemfi, you are able to generate points for sending money. And those points that you're generating in the app can be converted into money to send to your family and friends later. No app does that. I have never heard that before. That is so amazing. And you can generate your own referral code, and then when your friends and family also send money using your referral code, you get a token. So don't forget to use my link, okay, with my referral code, or use a referral code Nanel to send money. Hi, Lemfi, they are the best. And don't forget, you can download it whether you use an iOS or whether you use an Android phone. Send money using Lemfi, use my referral code, and let me know what you think. Okay, thank you so much, Lemfi, for sponsoring today's video. So the judge noted that the Secretary of State had sufficient information to have known that he had acted contrary to law and the relevant policy, because when the claimant had applied for a residence card, he had submitted sufficient evidence to establish that he had been a spouse of an EEA national residing and working in the UK. The only thing that was missing was this ID card. So people had the rest of his paperwork, everything else to prove that he had the legal right to reside here. So why then was he detained? Right. So the court made reference to a lot of issues that had happened in the past. Thompson versus Commissioner of Police, that happened in 1998, a whole lot of things. And he was also granted loss of earnings because obviously whilst he was there, he was not working, so he lost his salary for 3 months. And based on the breach of his EEA rights and improper restricting of his ability to work, the breach also directly led to a significant loss of earnings and other economic disadvantages. So the judge found that cumulatively there was inhumane, degrading treatment based on various facts, such as being locked up so over there you are locked up between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. You don't have any privacy. The toilets are very unclean. The environment is not safe health-wise and all of that, and abused by staff over there. His rights have been infringed upon, and therefore he needed to be compensated, which we all agree, right? So what is the implication? So this landmark decision provides a helpful guide as to damages for false imprisonment and violations of his Article 3 ECHR and EEA rights. It also contains a great decision on aggravated and exemplary damages. It also will be helpful for any person who has been detained at this particular Brookhouse or this particular detention or removal center, and provides guidance as to the best manner to pursue any damages or claim. The judge also discussed the admissibility of findings from the Brookhouse inquiry. So the judge put into consideration all the things that were in this undercover journalist report as to how people are treated there. He factored all those things in before he decided that this person has to be awarded this amount for all the violation of his rights and the abuse and all of that he went through. So if you have ever been unlawfully detained, don't let it just go, defend yourself. I mean, because the fact that even in subsequent visa applications, you can be asked that, have you ever been falsely removed, detained, blah, 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 in whatever in the UK, you'd have to answer yes. Meanwhile, maybe it was the Home Office's fault, maybe it was an error, and it was by no fault of yours. If you don't go this length to get a legal backing to say that you were innocent, the Home Office was wrong, and claim your benefit or claim your compensation for the abuse and everything, you will not have closure. You understand? I feel like there are lots of people that I'm sure that they will not be bold enough to take this to the court. Things started in 2017. Look at when they finally concluded, many years afterwards, right? However, I feel like people should be bold enough to take this on when they go through such maltreatment in the UK. This is a lesson for the Home Office. I'm sure that they are not happy to lose this amount of money, so they'll be careful next time. And this is also a lesson to other migrants as well, and that we should be bold enough to claim, you can't send the Home Office to court for all of these things. And then in the Home Office defense, let me say that they are not the ones that manage these removal centers or the detention centers. They have given their job to private companies to manage it. So this Brookhouse, after this video and everything, all the nasty things were exposed, the Home Office took the contract from the particular private company that was at the time taking care of or managing it, and they have given it to another company to manage, right? I'll show it on the screen now. However, I watched a BBC news report or kind of 4 news reports where they said that there were some of the officers in the video who were inflicting pain bullying and abuse on other people, some of these people, even though the management has changed, they are still there. Some of them have even been promoted to higher positions over there. So that means not much was done even after the video came out, which I think is not fair. What other lessons have you learned from this, and what can you say? Do you think that this amount of money was enough to compensate our dear man for everything that he went through, or you think that the damage is way too much and he deserved way more money, or you think it's perfect? And what other lessons did you learn from this story? Let me know in the comment section. But all I can say is that God bless the judge. His royal justice, God bless you for this judgment. May you live long. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.